I just want to jump on here and give you a quick update. Whether you've been following the NAR, the National Association of Realtors settlement over the last couple months or not, I hope this explainer video helps to clarify exactly how this settlement will be impacting you as a seller or a buyer moving forward. So let me start with sellers. So when a seller goes to list their home with an agent, they sign an agreement. We call that a listing agreement. And a part of that agreement covers compensation to the listing brokerage. And that compensation is then typically split with a buyer's agent, but more on that later. So compensation has always been negotiable between seller and listing brokerage. Unfortunately, many sellers didn't understand that, and they thought that a 6% commission was a flat set fee. That has never been true. There has always been, and frankly, there will always be the 1% agent that provides 1% service. I am not a 1% agent. I am a Nordstrom of agents. I provide a level of service to my clients that they've never seen before. You pay for good service. It doesn't matter the industry, but I'd argue you pay dearly for bad service. So, going back to that compensation that the seller and listing agent agree to in the listing agreement. Let's say I'm at a listing appointment and the seller and I agree to a 5% commission. Typically, I would then split that commission with the buyer's agent. So, how has the settlement changed this? While sellers can still offer compensation to buyer's agents, and we encourage them to do that, we cannot list them in the MLS, which is the multiple listing service. The MLS is the place where us as list agents go to push all of the data about our listings out to buyer's agents, and buyer's agents can go to try to find matches of homes that fit their buyer's search criteria. Sellers felt like buyer's agents were possibly steering their clients towards homes that were offering a higher compensation. I can say I was never in the practice of that habit, and I don't know any agents that were. But regardless, that is a part of what the lawsuit covers. So now we have taken those offers of compensation off of the MLS, and they will be discussed offline. I want to be clear. Sellers still have the choice of offering compensation to buyer brokerages, and I'd still encourage them to do so as a way of marketing your home and making your listing more attractive to buyers. But how we go about communicating that offer of compensation will now be off the MLS. Okay, so on the flip side, how does this settlement impact buyers? Well, just like sellers have been in the habit of signing a written agreement with their listing agent, buyers will now have to sign a written agreement with their buyer agent prior to touring a house. Us as buyer's agents can no longer open up the door for buyers until a written agreement has been signed. This agreement will clearly state that you are working with that buyer's agent on that property, and it'll clearly state the compensation and how we go about seeking that compensation. So, I just want to give a word of caution to buyers who typically like to go to listing agents to see properties. You are still able to do that, but please be sure before they open the door that you read that agreement clearly. Make sure it's specific to that house and they're not putting you in a contract that's open ended. But that being said, this is how the settlement will impact buyers. You will no longer be able to tour a house before signing a written agreement with the buyer's agent. So now's the time to decide who you want that buyer's agent to be. Of course, I'd love to have further conversations with you about the value a buyer's agent can bring, and more specifically, the value I know I would bring if you chose to work with me. The final point I want to address right now is I've been receiving this question a lot, understandably, is what happens if a seller is unwilling to compensate a buyer's agent? While I think that will be a rare scenario, you have to understand that this is not a free service that I provide. I take away time from my kids and my family on nights and weekends to show you homes and to work on your behalf. And I think everyone can agree that I, along with most buyer's agents, deserve to be compensated. However, please understand that I will never stand in the way of your dream home. So those kinds of things can be negotiated and discussed on a case-by-case basis. So let's recap the two main changes that you're going to see in real estate moving forward as a buyer and seller due to this settlement. First, sellers can still offer compensation to buyer's agents, and we encourage them to do so. However, we will no longer put those offers of compensation on the MLS. Two, buyers will need to sign a written agreement with the buyer's agent before touring a property. These changes will take effect starting August 17th. If you have any questions about specifics or want to chat more, I would love the opportunity to do so. We could grab coffee or talk on the phone, but I would love to be a resource for you. Until then, I hope this quick explainer video has helped to clarify some of the points and some of the major changes we're seeing starting this month due to the NAR settlement. Thanks so much, and I appreciate you all.